A very good morning to all. Today we'll start with a new chapter, that is chapter number 6, and the name of the chapter is New Ideas and Religions. So we'll continue from page number 51, and here you can see the big idea. So these are the topics that we will be discussing in this chapter, and the topics are the Upanishads, causes for the emergence of new religions, Jainism and Vardhamana Mahavira, Buddhism and Gautam Buddha. Then here at a glance you can see a flow chart with the main heading Later Vedic Age, and the subheadings are the Upanishads were composed, the other one emergence of new ideas and religions. So these topics we will be discussing in this chapter. Now here at the bottom you can see a timeline. So this timeline is divided into two periods. The first one is from 2000 to 1000 BCE, and the second division is 999 BCE to 1 CE. And here you can see the composition of Upanishads began around 1000 BCE, and Mahavira was born in 599 BCE, whereas Buddha was born in 566 BCE, and Mahavira died in 527 BCE, and Buddha died around 483 BCE. So this is the timeline. Next you can see the history maker, and in the history maker you can see the picture of Gargi Vachaknavi. She was a ancient Indian philosopher who was born around 700 BCE, and she was given the title of Brahmavadini. So this title is given to those who have the knowledge of Brahma Vidya, and Brahma Vidya is the subject of individual's relation with the universe or the Atma, that is soul. And during this period, once King Janak of Videha, he organized a philosophical meet which was known as Brahma Yajna, and Gargi Vachaknavi, she participated in this philosophical meet, and there she asked very important questions based on God, human life and Atma, and she also challenged the greatest sage of that period, that was Yajnavalkya. So she took great participation in these philosophical meets. So this was about Gargi Vachaknavi. Now next let's discuss about the Upanishads. As we have already discussed that the Upanishads were composed during the later Vedic period, that is around 1000 BCE to 600 BCE, and it is the part of the later Vedic literature. In Sanskrit, this term Upanishad means at the feet of Guru or teacher, and these consist the records of knowledge given by the teacher to the pupil sitting near them, and it is also the set of books written in the form of dialogues and debates between the teacher and the student. And these Upanishads also show a shift in emphasis from God and ritual to abstract concepts and mystical knowledge. So here abstract concepts means highly philosophical concepts which are very difficult to understand, and mystical knowledge means the knowledge that is beyond the understanding of human being. So these Upanishads, it shows the shift from God and ritual to abstract concepts and mystical knowledge. And around this time, the thinkers, they try to find out the answers for some questions, like some of them wanted to know life after death, and some of them felt that there was something present in the universe that was permanent even after death, and they described it as Atma, that is individual soul, and the universal soul, and they believed that there was a relation between the individual soul and the universal soul. So these types of ideas and philosophical thinkings consisted in Upanishads. So this was about the Upanishads, and during that time most of the thinkers were especially men, that is the Brahmins and the Rajas. Like you can see here the picture of the famous sage like Yajnavalkya, Aruni, Shandilya. And occasionally there is mention of women thinkers such as Maitreyi and Gargi, who participated in debates held in royal courts. And there is also the mention of an ordinary thinker whose name was Satyakama Jabbala. He was the son of an old woman named Jabbali, and he had a deep desire to know or to learn about reality, and for this he also approached the learned sage of that period, that is sage Haridmata Gautama. So this is the picture of Satyakama Jabbala. And here many of the ideas of Upanishads were later developed by the famous thinker and the teacher of Hinduism, that is Adi Sankaracharya. And the Upanishads are read even today, and they have been translated into several languages such as Persian, English and French. And there are about 200 Upanishads, and among them 13 are very important. So you can see some of them are Isha, Katha, Aitreya, Chandogya and Brihadaranyaka. So these are some of the most important Upanishads. Now here in page number 52, you can see analyzing sources of history, and it's written, the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad says, Asato ma sadgamaya, tamaso ma jyotirgamaya, mrityo ma amritam gamaya. So this means that from the unreal lead me to the real, and from darkness lead me to the light, from death lead me to immortality. So here these are the three mantras originally meant to recite during the praise of Lord Suma, and this is recited by the patron, and patron is a person who gives financial help to a person or organization. So these mantras are recited by the patron to praise Lord Suma. So this was about the Upanishads. Next, let's discuss about the causes that resulted in the rise of new religion. So as we have discussed that during the later Vedic period, the Brahmanas, they claimed the high status in the society and they dominated the society. There they encouraged complex and elaborate rituals and sacrifices, encouraged expensive sacrifices, and they also dominated the Varna system. So these things were not liked by the other people, and they wanted a new religion where they would enjoy better position. So let's discuss some of the reasons. Now here the first reason is the rigid caste system. So here the rigid or strict caste system, it led to inequality and conflicts among the people. So here the Brahmanas, which consisted of gurus and teachers, they claimed high status in the society, and this was not liked by the Kshatriyas. Kshatriyas were the defenders of the kingdom. Then the third group was of Vaishyas, which consisted of people practicing agriculture and trade, and they were the people who paid the maximum tax. That means they were the wealthy class, but they were placed below the Brahmanas and the Kshatriyas. So this was not liked by them, and they wanted a new religion where they would enjoy better position. And here the fourth group was of Shudras, which consisted of laborers. So here these social classes, they did not enjoy any right, and they wanted a new religion where they would enjoy better position. So this was one of the cause for the rise of new religion. Now the next one is religious literature. So during that period, the religious literatures were composed in Sanskrit language, but the language of the common people was Pali and Prakrit. So it was difficult for the people to read these religious literatures. So this was the second cause. Now the third one is the urbanization. Here this period witnessed rapid urbanization with the rise of cities in North India, that is Kausambi, Sravasti and Vaishali. Here the term urbanization means to make an area developed or to urbanize. So because of the urbanization, money or punch mark coins were used instead of barter system. So barter system is a system where things were exchanged instead of money. So this increasing use of money, it increased commercialism and ostentatious lifestyle. Here commercialism means people only concerned in making profit at the expense of anything, and ostentatious lifestyle means people impressing others by showing their wealth or healthy lifestyle. So with the increase in the use of money, there was an increase in commercialism and ostentatious lifestyle. So these things were not liked by some people and they wanted a new religion, and at that time two religions were famous, that is Buddhism and Jainism. So here both these religions, they did not give any importance to the Varna system that existed during that period, and they also preached people in the common language, that is Pali and Prakrit. So it was easy for them to understand. So these were the reasons for the rise of new religion. Next, let's discuss about Jainism and Vardhamana Mahavira. So here you can see the picture of Vardhamana Mahavira. He was the most famous religious leader and he was also known as the 24th Tirthankaras or religious leader. He was born in 599 BCE at Kundagrama near Vaishali in Bihar, and his father was Siddhartha, who was the head of the Janatrikas, that is a Kshatriya clan, and mother was a Lichavi princess, that is he was born as the Kshatriya prince of the Lichavis. And we have discussed in the previous chapter that the Lichavis were part of the Vaji Sangha and they lived on the banks of river Ganga. So here Lord Mahavira, he was disturbed by the sufferings of the poor and he gave up his wealth and left his home at the age of 30 to teach people the right path of life. Here right path of life means overcoming evils like anger and ego. And for this he meditated and fasted for many days, and he also led a life of austerity. Here austerity means keeping ourselves away from worldly pleasures. So Lord Mahavira, he meditated for 12 years and finally he attained Kaivalya or the enlightenment, or we can say the perfect knowledge. Here enlightenment word means gaining deep knowledge and understanding about everything in life. So he attained enlightenment and he came to be known as Jinnah, the conqueror. So here the conqueror is the one who has conquered all feelings of sorrow and happiness. So he came to be known as Jinnah and his followers came to be known as Jains. And Mahavira preached in Magadha, Kosla and Videha. He also preached in Prakrit so that the common people could understand his teachings. And Mahavira passed away in 527 BCE at the age of 72 at Pavapuri near Rajagriha. So this was about Jainism and Lord Mahavira. Next, let's discuss the teachings of Mahavira. So here Mahavira was against the Vedic rituals and animal sacrifices. He believed that every object, even the smallest object, has a soul. So he urged people to follow the principle of non-violence, that is ahimsa, and not to kill insects, animals and human beings. But here farmers, they found it difficult to follow his words because they had to kill insects to keep their crops protected. So this was not followed by the farmers. The next thing was that he also opposed the Varna system that existed during that period, and he believed that all human beings were equal. He said that freedom from the cycle of birth, death and recycle, that is moksha, could be achieved by the three jewels, that is three ratnas of Jainism, and they are right faith, right knowledge and right conduct or action. And he also urged people to live a simple life and to do penance. Here penance means self-punishment to show sorry for a sin. So he urged people to live a simple life and to do penance. So here the teachings of Mahavira can be summed up as the first one, ahimsa, that means non-violence towards all beings. Second one, satya, that is speaking the truth. Third one is astheya, that is the practice of not stealing. Fourth one, tyaga, that means not owning property and leading a detached life. The fifth one is brahmacharya, that means the state of not marrying. So these are his teachings. Now the next, let's discuss about the spread of Jainism. Here the Jainas came to be divided into two main sects, that means two main groups. Here sects word means a group of people having different religious belief. So they divided themselves into two groups. The first one is Svetambaras or the white clad, and the Digambaras, that is the sky clad. So here Svetambaras are those who dress in white and wear a cloth over their mouth, and Digambaras are those who do not wear clothes. So two groups were divided, that is Svetambaras and Digambaras. Now here the Jainism spread to many places like Magadha, Videha, Kosala, Anga and Ujjain. It also spread to some parts of South India and Nepal. Now here you can see some of the famous temple, that is Dilwara temple in Mount Abu and Jaina temple in Chittor. So this was about the spread of Jainism. Next, let's discuss about the Jaina literature. So here the teachings of Mahavira were first preserved in oral tradition, and later on it was written down in the form of 14 purvas, and later these 14 purvas were arranged into 12 angas. So here the sacred Jaina literature are the purvas and the angas. So this was about Jainism and Lord Mahavira's teachings. Now here you can see an activity. Here the question is, name the two countries where Buddhism and Jainism are popular even today. So you have to write the answer and submit in Teams. That's all for today. We'll meet in the next class. Thank you.